Fog and yuck and mist and moo? I don't know. Anyway, guess what? We got weather to talk about. Let's do that in this hump day edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Hello. It is Wednesday, the 5th of February, 2025. I'm Texas Weather Center's Bully-in-Chief David Reimer. Yeah, it is a pretty dreary morning across a good chunk of the state. We've got dense fog, low clouds, and mist. Probably across 3/4 of Texas this morning. We've got some freezing drizzle up in the northeastern and eastern Texas panhandles where surface temperatures are below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, turning those super cooled water droplets into ice makers. Across the rest of the state where temperatures are safely above freezing, that mist and fog is just, well, making things messy versus, icy. So, let's take a look. The high-res rapid refresh model for today, tonight, into Thursday. Now, as we go through the morning, we are going to see that fog and drizzle generally and gradually lift. By about 10 to 11 a.m. this morning, we should be mostly done with the majority of that. Going into this afternoon, the opportunity for isolated to widely scattered showers, maybe even a thunderstorm across the coastal plain, southeast Texas. That activity slowly moving north until dissipating near sunset. Maybe a few showers continuing into this evening, not a significant or widespread deal. As we go back into tonight and Thursday morning, we are expecting another round of potentially dense fog to develop the Edwards Plateau, the Concho Valley, south central Texas, the Hill Country, North Texas, Texoma, northeast Texas. Once again, impacting Interstate 35 with the potential for dense fog. That could be an issue for aviation interest in addition to those of you traveling for your morning commute tomorrow morning. So again, keep in mind, we are anticipating another round of fog going into Thursday morning. That should generally lift by, well, in some cases, it may actually take until early afternoon, this model being a little more aggressive with that low-level stratus and fog into early Thursday afternoon. Otherwise, western half of the state, we are going to continue having to deal with very high to extreme wildfire danger both today, Thursday, and Friday. The state has deployed multiple resources to deal with the increased threat of wildfires, and as such, we're going to have to remain vigilant because, well, fire, bad. So please don't accidentally set half your county on fire. Oh, and don't intentionally do it either, since apparently we have to be specific and always mention that in this day and age of fun and annoyances. So please just don't be a dum-dum. That's all we can ask, because the fire danger, especially the western half of the state, is high to extreme. Above average temperatures, low humidities, and dormant winter fuels. Looking in the long range of the American weather model, as we go into Friday and the weekend, you can see Friday, it's actually going to be a beautiful day across the state. We're looking at southerly winds, mostly sunny skies. It is going to be quite warm statewide. No indications of any cold air like we're dealing with this morning, or, well, frankly, yesterday. The northern third of the state, that cold front did manage to push a little farther south than we thought it would, which kind of messed up the temperature forecast a bit. Don't you like it when that happens? We don't, but it's just a fact of life. It's going to happen from time to time. No one's perfect. As we go into Saturday night and Sunday, a cold front will begin moving south across the state, with the opportunity for that front to make it into the northern half of Texas, perhaps, with an increasing chance of showers. Maybe a few storms going into Sunday and Monday, and especially Monday night and Tuesday. This model being more aggressive compared to previous model runs, with the chance of rain going into Monday and Tuesday. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. And then as we get into Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, you can see that model actually does depict an area of light snow in the Panhandle with a colder air mass in place across most of the state. It's not a guarantee that we're going to actually see that much rain or widespread rain on Monday and Tuesday, but it's possible. So, hey, you know what? It would be good for the drought, right? We need to get some of these lakes starting to fill up before we actually get into spring and have to actually deal with wind-driven wildfire issues versus the, fuel-driven wildfire issues we're dealing with now. It's warm. It's pretty hot for February. Fuels are dormant, but, we don't have 60-mile-an-hour winds. It's not going to be that long until we are dealing with those kind of winds with our early spring season storm systems. All right, so here's the forecast rain totals over the next 5 days from the Weather Prediction Center. Now, this takes us through 6 a.m. Central Time Monday. The typical software we use for this wasn't working this morning, so we're using a bit of a different software. Nevertheless, you can see the state. Really, we're not looking at hardly anything, not even a tenth of an inch of rain through 6 a.m. Monday across Texas. Now, we're going to have a pretty wet couple of days across portions of the Great Lakes, Northeastern, Mid-Atlantic, Delmarva, with a couple winter storms out there between now and the weekend. And then back on the West Coast, you can see we're expecting some heavy mountain snows in California, parts of Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, up into Idaho, Oregon, with rain on the NorCal coast. In fact, even some rain down into Southern California as well, so that'd be good for them. And again, we are expecting precipitation chances, showers and storms to increase Monday and Tuesday, shortly thereafter this graphic time frame. So pop ahead 2 days, and this graphic has all sorts of pretty colors indicating the potential for a couple inches of rain across the northeastern half of the state on Monday and Tuesday into Wednesday morning of next week, and we could remain in a precipitous weather pattern thereafter. High temperatures today across the great old state of Texas. Now, this brings up a fun little story about what we use for our data set. And we've actually always used this as long as we've been making these videos on a consistent basis now for, about 2 years. This uses the National Weather Service's National Digital Forecast Database, NDFD. And what this does is it uses the National Weather Service forecast high temperatures. So, same as if you would visit the National Weather Service website or use the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. It's all the same data. In this case, you can see where one office either has a different forecast philosophy or just messed up what are called their grids, their forecast database. Either way, you can see that discrepancy there, and it doesn't happen often anymore. It used to happen way more back about 10 years ago, where different offices would have different forecast philosophies and not match up their grids with surrounding offices, but clearly there's some sort of discrepancy with that today. However, as you can see, we are expecting a pretty warm day with the exception of maybe the eastern Panhandle, Texoma. I'd go with the cooler side of the temperature spectrum there. In all likelihood, highs probably in the 60s. Otherwise, we're looking at 70s and 80s across all of Texas today. The Panhandle, parried in down towards Canadian Pampa, where we had highs yesterday in the 30s, 40s. Guess what? And freezing fog this morning. Guess what? It's going to be 80 today. How about that 50-degree temperature shift? There we go. See, words can be difficult sometimes, especially when I'm over-caffeinated or under-caffeinated. Let's see if we can't fix that either way. Yee! So, it's going to be warm, especially for February. Tomorrow, you can see that cool front does try to shift back into the Panhandle a wee bit. Highs back down to the 50s for Perryton and Canadian, 68 Amarillo, 79 Lubbock and El Paso, 83 to 84 Midland, Odessa. We're looking at 87 in Fort Stockton and Laredo, 85 in McAllen, 79 in Brownsville, about 71 in Galveston, 81 in Houston, 77 in Beaumont and Port Arthur, 80 in Texarkana, Tyler, DFW. We're looking at about 82 to 85, Waco, Austin, San Antonio, San Angelo, Abilene. So we go into Friday. Guess what? How about 91 to 93 in places like Del Rio, Laredo, 89 in McAllen and San Antonio, about 85 in Austin, 82 in Waco, DFW, Houston, about 80 in Tyler, 85 in Midland, Odessa, Abilene, 82 in Lubbock, 75 in Amarillo, 89 Fort Stockton, 85 in Marfa and Alpine, 79 El Paso. As we go into Saturday, highs even warmer. We're going to be dangerously close to 90 degrees in DFW on Saturday. 91 in Abilene, 90 San Angelo, 91 in Brownwood and Stephenville, 92 San Antonio, 93 Del Rio to Laredo, and someone down here in the Edwards Plateau or Rio Grande Plains could flirt with triple digits Saturday afternoon. Yes, 100 degrees. Aren't you happy we're talking about that again in early February? Yes, it brings such a smile and joy to my wrinkled, bald head. 91 in McAllen, 82 in Brownsville, 84 in Houston, 78 in both Galveston and Beaumont, 83 Texarkana, 82 in Tyler, 69 in Amarillo, 60 in Perryton, 80 in Lubbock, 79 in El Paso. As we get into Sunday, Well, Saturday night, Sunday, Crashy the cold front comes and says, "You like summer? Well, too bad. Summer's over." We're 77 El Paso, 45 Amarillo, 40 in Perryton, 53 in Lubbock, 56 in DFW, 51 Wichita Falls, 53 in Abilene, 57 in Odessa, 81 San Antonio, 73 in Austin, 61 in Waco, 77 Beaumont, about 79 in El Paso. How about Houston? 89 in McAllen, 89 in Laredo, 80 in Del Rio. And again, this is going to be a day where high temperatures for some folks are going to happen right after sunrise, with much colder temperatures arriving thereafter. Depending on the speed of the cold front, these temperatures may be a bit on the aggressive side in terms of the high end of things. If the cold front moves faster, more folks are going to be colder going into Sunday. And guess what? That'll continue into next week as we begin our precipitous weather pattern. And for the northern two-thirds of Texas, at least, temperatures much closer to February norms. Southern third of Texas, y'all may actually survive and get to stay on the warm side of things. So here's the temperature outlook. The 10th through 14th of February, so the second week of February, and you can see that reflected here. Northern two-thirds of the state generally average to below average temperatures, much cooler than this week's southern third of the state. You may remain on the warmer side of things, with a good chunk of the northern, western, and northeastern continental United States experiencing a colder weather pattern. However, most of the United States has a decent chance of above average precipitation. Below average temperatures, above average precipitation, I wonder what sorts of mischief that could bring. For us in Texas, I wouldn't bet on it in terms of winter mischief, at least much of it. It doesn't look super favorable right now, but we'll keep an eye on it. For those of you in the central U.S., up in the northeastern United States, well, the next week could be quite interesting with multiple opportunities for winter storm mischief. So if you're heading up north or northeast, keep that in mind for traveling, or maybe a winter storm every other day going into next week, the way things are looking. So we'll have to keep an eye on that just for fun because, well, who doesn't like some snow and sun? I don't know, but you got a rhyme at least out of it. That's going to be it for your Hump Day edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. As always, we do appreciate everybody who joins us here on the Texas Weather Center YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button if you want to get notified for free with our daily new Texas weather content. And of course, you can also find us in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app, where you can get your local weather forecast, interactive weather radar, daily Texas weather roundups, and more. That's it. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow, Thursday, the 6th of February, with your new Texas weather roundup. Have a great Wednesday. Please don't set anything on fire. Be careful in the fog this morning. Both of those kind of go against each other, and typical logical thinking. But it makes sense. Once the fog is gone, we'll dry out faster than a popcorn fart. And with that, I'm going to go bye-bye now before I get put in timeout. Y'all have a great Wednesday. We'll talk to you later. God bless.